And our first remote location this morning is at Louisiana State Penitentiary. We are seated at DOC headquarters in Baton Rouge, and I'd like the staff here to introduce themselves for the record.
Jasmine. Shakita McCurdy.
All right, thank you. And would the staff at Louisiana State Penitentiary please introduce yourself for the record?
Deputy Warden Rochelle Ambo.
Reginald Admiral, classification.
Carmen Shipley, Offender Records.
All right, thank y'all for accommodating us this morning. And our first case is Mr. Robert Grant. Good morning, Mr. Grant.
Good morning. How you doing, Ms. Renato?
I'm good. Would you introduce yourself for the record? Sir, tell us your name and DOC number.
Robert Grant, 127143.
Right, and let me acknowledge some folks that are here with us today in support. On Zoom, we have Dr. Ronnie Goins. Here with us in Baton Rouge, we have Carla Hill, Darren Calthorn, Rosalani Grant, Broderick Glover, and Barbara Glover.
All right.
And then we also have some folks who have joined us who are in opposition. We have the Caddo Parish District Attorney's Victim Assistance Coordinator, Ms. Leonie Fitzgerald, James Foster, Danny Foster, Keetra Perkins, all who will be speaking at the appropriate time. Also on Zoom, we have Kenneth Johnson, Michelle Brooks, Juan Foster, Cassandra Foster, Kayla Foster, Latrice Reese, and Ashley Gibbons, all who are members of the victim's family. First, Mr. Grant, I'm going to read some identifying information into the record, and then we'll proceed from there. Let me get you to confirm that information. So, Mr. Grant, as you mentioned, your DOC number is 127143. You're seeking a commutation of your sentence. You were sentenced in Caddo Parish in August 1992 to a life sentence for a second-degree murder conviction. Is that information correct, Mr. Grant?
Correct.
All right, thank you. So we would like your statement first, Mr. Grant. We want to hear, what did you do? How did you wind up in prison? And why do you think you deserve a favorable vote today from us?
Well, remember when I was back in when that crime took place, what I did, I sold some drugs to Mr. Foster. I did do that, but I had when I sold the drugs and left, Mr. Foster was still alive. I ain't had no knowledge that he was gonna be harmed or hurt or nothing like that there. All I did was sold him some drugs and I left the scene. But I get down to the corner, I hear a shot. So when the other guys caught up, I asked them what the shot was. And one of the other ones told me that Mays had and shot the man. And I asked him, why you shot the man? And he talking about I ran and he looked like he was reaching for something. And in my mouth, I said, man, y'all finna take me to the penitentiary with this here. And that's what's happening on my part. But when they got me, remember now they wanted me to say I saw the guy shoot Mr. Foster, but I told him I couldn't do that. I told him what the other party was Wendell Ishay. I told them what Wendell told me, but when they got me, they said they need me to say I seen him shoot Mr. Foster. And when I went to cooperate, then they said, well, I'm gonna take you down too, since you don't want to cooperate. And they got Wendell to turn over, the one who was really there with him, who watched everything. They got him to turn over when I wouldn't say I saw him shoot Mr. Foster. And that's why I'm sitting here today on a life.
So I hear you. We're going to ask you some more questions about that in just a bit. But tell us, why do you think, considering your involvement in the crime, why do you think you deserve a favorable vote today? And, what you've done for all this time?
Well, Ms. really, I can be of help to some of the dudes, some of the guys that's out there in the neighborhood that's coming through. I come from a rough neighborhood, and those shoes that some of them walking in down that road, I done did that. And I feel like I want to try to give something back to the community by trying to help some of those youngsters that's coming up. And I believe, if you ain't never been through nothing, Miss Renata, and coming in rough neighborhoods, ain't nobody gonna listen at you or nothing unless you've been through some things. I've been there. I done been from there to the bottom, and I done learned a lot of stuff. Really, I want to try to help some of them, the ones coming up now, the youngsters coming up in the neighborhood. Try to give back something to them. That don't mean if you still can. If you don't do the crime, if you be hanging around the wrong people, you still can get caught up. You see what I mean? Then some of them, when we come up, if I would have just went on and said I seen the man shoot the man, Miss Renata, I would never be in front of y'all today. You see what I mean? But I wasn't raised like that. I don't want nobody to do me that. So I really want to give something back because I could be a true example. I've been there. See what I mean? No, it don't make no difference if you ain't did the crime. You hang with the wrong people and you can get caught up. You see my man, Ms. Bernard? And I think I want to be there because I feel like they need somebody like me. Been in that situation. I come from the environment. I was raised good. Now I ain't saying I was just running the streets. I went to school, graduated, and I got books sense, street sense, common sense, but I need to try to get back out and before they can see, for they can have an example. Because I watch everything and they lost out there. You see what I mean? So
Okay. Well, we're gonna ask you some more specific questions in just a few
All
minutes.
right.
But
All
first, we want to hear from Warden Ambo. What can you tell us about Mr. Grant?
I can tell you that Mr. Grant, is a minimum B trustee. He's assigned at, Fox D1. He works as a janitor and cleaner. He has anger management, T4C, 100 hours of pre-release, and his tiger is low. Mr. Grant, always willing to help someone whenever you ask them to help and stuff. He's always willing to go beyond the call of duty whenever needed. We have projects that we're working on right now that we have a deadline to finish. And Mr. Grant is one of the inmates that are working on that project, and it looks like we are going to finish it in a timely manner. I do think Mr. Grant is ready to re-enter society at this point. If y'all would give him a favorable vote. Thank you.
Good morning, Warden Lenoy. I'm sorry I didn't see you come in. I know you're tied up today with ACA.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry I was late. I apologize. Good morning, all of you.
All right, Mr. Grant, we're going to hear from the folks who are here that want to speak on your behalf, and that would be Mr. Darren Calthorn. Who's here with us? Sir, would you step up to the podium? Yes, that's fine. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Good morning. You're doing all right?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to say, good morning to the Foster family. My heart goes out to you, for the, participation that my brother, was involved with the situation. But I want to say this about my brother. My brother has a big heart. He has a kind heart. And, growing up in the streets of Shreveport, Cattle Parish, it was rough, in the neighborhoods. And, I think Mr. Brady can contest to that, detective during that time. And my brother looked out for me, all my friends. He looked out for all of his friends. My brother was three things. My brother was a scholar, honorable student. My brother was an awesome football player. Huntington High School. You'd have his butt on down there to Grambling, but neither here nor there. But my brother was an awesome football player. Now, my brother, he's not we grew up around some real mean guys. We grew up around some guys these guys, yes, they would you. It was dangerous then, just like it is now in Cattle Parish. But my brother, gotta be honest with you. My brother wasn't about that. My brother was abused. Gotta be honest with you. Learned to fight early. He took care of all of us. He know grandmama told me, listen, go to the store, get the cigarettes, better not let nobody get that bag from me. My old guy just tried to take that bag. My brother had to learn how to fight over there in that P Avenue bar. I want to say this about my brother. My brother looked out for a lot of people growing up. My brother even looked out for Charles Caldwell. They with Charles Caldwell. They looked. My brother looked out for one of your main names, Fred, Don Gibbs. Went right there to Huntington. And as a matter of fact, I get a chance to get my brother home after these 36 years. I'm a partner. I work for Cattle Parish. I own 2 bail bond businesses. I'm a recovery agent. I also a security coordinator for Cattle Parish. I've been in Cattle Parish 30 years. I'm a partner with Don Gibbs. And I would love for my brother to come out and we talk to these kids around Cattle Parish because it's a hellhole in Shreveport now. Talk to these kids, get a chance to go around these high schools, get a chance to go to these middle schools. Nobody better knows about what's going on and the road that they're going down and what's waiting on them. And my brother Robert Grant. He knows exactly what's going to happen to you if you commit it. He knows what's going to happen to you if you're around the perpetrator that commits what could happen. I'm going to say this about my brother. My brother took care of me. Now it's time for me. I'm going to take care of him. I want to say this. My brother gets a chance to come home. He has a nice Cadillac waiting on him. I know he always wanted a Cadillac. He got one now. He got it waiting on him. Tell you what else he got waiting on him. Been working for both of us all these years. I'm about to retire from the school. I got a nice brick home. 3 bedroom, 2 bath. He got that waiting on him. It's gonna be his own house. Got another piece of property that I'm living in. But now he's gonna earn it now. I'm gonna sell it to him. I ain't gonna give that to him. I'm gonna sell it to him, but it's his. So he has that way, waiting on him. You know, you can get caught up in situations. Like I was telling you about my brother, about him being a major asset when he was on the outside. Okay, when he got on the inside, my brother was the hall man at CDC. He helped kept down a lot of trouble at CDC.
You seen them?
That's a fact. He's an asset for CDC.
Yes, sir. Can
Okay.
you wrap it up for us, Mr. Councilwoman? We got a lot. Can you wrap it up for us, sir?
Yes, well, this is my last segment.
Okay.
In Angola, my brother bridged the gaps between Shreveport and Baton Rouge, Shreveport and New Orleans. That was a major situation on keeping down trouble, counseling with inmates. It's a known fact. But again, my heart goes out to the Foster family with that situation there. Terrible. And my heart goes out to you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
And on Zoom, we have Dr. Ronnie Goins.
Hello, can you hear me?
Sir?
Yes. Good morning. I speak in front of a room of people, full of people every week, and I don't know why this morning, I'm nervous this morning. I pastor Cornea Christian Church, a founder there for 21 years. I'm founder of the RWG STEM Academy. It's a 5th through 12th grade STEM school. It's directed towards lower income boys and girls. We raise a lot of money each year to send kids to college at no charge. I also founded an organization called the Impact Center. It stands for Igniting Minds, Promoting Advocacy, and Community Transformation. I do a lot in the community as pertains to giving back. I'm also a product of Shreveport, Louisiana, Caddo Parish School, Louisiana Tech, and also with SMU in Dallas. To the Foster family, I see them here, and my heart goes out to them as well. Let me just say, Robert Grant has spent the last 36 years of his life for a horrible mistake that he made at 19 years old, which led to the loss of a life. It's important to know that though Robert was not directly responsible for the loss of that life, his presence at that situation cost him his. The law mandated that a 19-year-old kid should have did something to prevent it or said something to keep it from happening. And they say he should have spoke up. He should have went straight to the police. And I'm sure, board, that at 60 years old, almost 60 years old, I'm sure almost at 60 years old, he would have attempted to do both of the things that the state would have told him to do. That's just not where he was at 19 years old. I've kept in touch with Robert for the past 32 years of his 36-year incarceration. And I just give you my word as a minister, as a community advocate, that this is a good man. I am the father of 3 sons. My oldest son, Noah, is in college on a full ride basketball scholarship. Full ride. He's a straight A student. He plans to go into law school. And I'll give you one guess as to who is the man I put my son on the phone with to talk about choices. That man was Robert Grant. He talked to Noah as if Noah was his own son about making the right decisions. He talked to Noah, and Noah did not breathe. He was on bated breath as this man told him that if you don't make the right choices, you can end your life and blow everything that you have going. I can also give my word as someone who's eternally grateful to God for my life, that I commit personally my resources, my time to ensure that Robert doesn't squander his second chance at freedom. Why? Because he's perfect? No, none of us are. But everyone in that room, including myself and everyone in this Zoom call, at one time or another, has at least been given a second chance at something. This man was sent to prison at 19 years old. And finally, after being a few years away from 60 years old, he's being given the opportunity to come home. And this board made the right decision 10 years ago in approving him to go home. My uncle, who served on that very board for over 25 years, Dr. Henry Goins, is my uncle. He stood with me last year, and he also signed off in that this man was worthy of a second chance. And I'm praying that you guys make the same decision today, and that this time the now governor agrees with us. And lastly, I mentioned Robert. Robert mentioned having graduated from Huntington High School, but what he didn't say is that he was also an honor roll student. He was a star athlete. I can only imagine what his life would have been had he had a system like the Foster family has. Instead, and I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, his mother was a prostitute. His dad was a felon. And despite all that, he submitted to a grandmother to graduate, be a star athlete, and be a leader. I wish, and my prayer, is that Robert will be given another chance, because if nothing else, I can guarantee he'll be employed, and I can guarantee he'll be in position to help keep other young people out of his position. And I thank you guys so much for your time.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. All right. Now we'll hear from the opposition, all who are on Zoom. First, could we hear from Mr. James Foster? No, sir, you're still on mute. You're still on mute.
Ma'am. Hello?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yes, ma'am. I'm James W. Foster. I'm Keith Foster's brother. I had wanted my brother to speak first. It's a very emotional time for me. Me and my brother we were very close. And I've listened to what they had to say, but I don't agree with it. They took my brother's life. They took it from his family. We lived together, me and my brother. We fished together. We hunted together. We did everything together. And so it's hard for me to accept the fact that now this person they portray to be this or to be that. I can honestly say I've been to Shreveport a million times in that area. And the guys that's out there have no remorse for life. They have no remorse for people. And I know this from experience. I went there and got robbed in Shreveport just because I got turned around wrong. I wasn't looking for no drugs. I was looking for direction. So on behalf of my family, I say he needs to stay incarcerated. He needs to be able to feel what we feel, because Keith can't feel it. He's deceased. He's been killed, murdered, right on the streets. All those guys had a choice that night. All of them. My brother left and came back over there. They had already pre-planned that. So I'm just asking that you take that in consideration, that my brother would no longer be with us. He would no longer see his family, be with his family, be able to help the community, be able to teach. My brother helped the community. He taught people. He raised children. He was married and had kids. He lost all of that. They lost all of that. We lost all of that. But I'm going to surrender my time to my sibling, my oldest brother, who I love dearly, and let y'all go on, because I can't say anything else.
Thank you, Mr. James. So, Mr. Danny Foster, please.
Yes, ma'am. This is difficult, extremely difficult. There's a word that describes my brother, Keith. That word is irreplaceable. An irreplaceable person is an individual who is uniquely valuable, special, or essential, that their presence cannot be genuinely matched or substituted by anyone else's. That's my brother Keith. Irreplaceable. Their specific qualities, skills, contributions, or unique bond they share with others make them one of a kind. That's Keith Foster. When that person's not around, there's a void. We felt that void. We still feel that void. His children, his grandchildren feel that void. Mr. Grant, talk about his mom, what she did. Guess what? Our mom died at 47 of a broken heart, had a heart attack at my brother's funeral because of the actions of Mr. Grant and his colleagues. Talking about growing up hard, we grew up in Benton Harbor, Michigan, grew up hard. Our dad was killed at 37. We grew up without a dad. So people telling me about what other folks have suffered through, we didn't make the same choices. We didn't go out with guns, hanging around. Then, he was described, and I listened to these words, said he grew up poor. Well, so did we. Said that he was an honor roll student. What did he do with it? Said that he was a leader in the community, a great football player, a scholarship athlete to Grambling. Keith was a great athlete. In our family, we all were athletes. I ended up coming to Marshall, Texas first on a basketball and track scholarship. I didn't kill anybody. Said he was a leader. Well, what did he lead on that day? He was described as a leader in the community. And if he gets out, he's going to get a Cadillac and a home. The home that my brother got is his heavenly home. I'm a person of forgiveness. I'm a Christian man too. But the courts decided what his sentence should be based upon his participation. He's forgiven in my book. However, the courts decided what should go on. And I tell you, it's hard for me to accept someone sitting here talking about Cadillacs and homes and stuff like that, when my brother and his children have suffered mightily. My mom died of a broken heart. So no, I cannot support him being released. If he's so good, the great doctor said that Noah was heavily influenced by a telephone conversation. Well, he can continue to have those telephone conversations and continue to inspire people exactly where he is. If he has such a great impact, let him continue to do what he's doing, because it sounds to me like he's doing pretty good and influencing the right things, and he can do it from right where he is. Thank you so much.
So we appreciate your remarks. And we have Ms. Perkins.
Hello to all. This is very emotional, like my uncle stated. I am the late daughter of Keith Foster. And like my uncles did state, I have tried to hold this in for as long as I could. But it was very hard knowing that this picture here is the day of my dad's funeral. I'm 2 years old. I'm grinning, but I'm not knowing, and this is my two older brothers, not knowing that this was going to be a forever heartbreak. When I got older to understand exactly what took place, it have not only devastated me, but it devastated my siblings as well. It's a hole in my heart that would never, ever, ever, no one on earth can actually feel it. I don't care how happy days can be. I don't care how much I'm smiling. My dad was shot inhumane for a senseless crime. Yeah, he's saying that he's not the shooter, but he initiated the crime. He is the young man who stalled an unarmed man in a vehicle who did not have a weapon, did not have anything. And even after getting his belongings, they still decided that they needed more. And they got his life. And not only did they take his life, they took my family. They took my grandmother. They took everything. And the stories that I heard is that my grandmother was holding me because I was the baby girl. And my dad begged for his life. He told him that he had something to live for. Imagine you're sitting in a car, you're already confined, you're stalled. Someone pull out a sawed-off shotgun and nearly shoots your head completely off your body. So much blood that they thought the other guy that was left as a witness was dead. So my daddy didn't have a time to think. He didn't have a time to react. Oh, Lord. All he had was the moments of his life flashing before his eyes. This guy want to come out and, like you said, we hear now the luxury things. And to be honest, the street code is that he didn't want to be a snitch. But if you were such a good person, you don't worry about being a snitch. You do what's right. And I feel like he want to be so inspirable for everyone else. But what about my dad? Did he have a chance? Could he come back and testify on his own behalf? He doesn't have that chance. He got a life sentence. So I feel like equally, they both should have a life sentence. When Judge Brown told him that he had a life sentence without possible parole, you have to understand that was back in the 80s. I was 2 years old, 2 months, 16.6 days old when we got a call that my father was killed, murdered like nothing on the street. All they got was $11. And like my uncles did state, they grew up rough. My uncle, Danny Foster, he has went to the military. He served for our country. then retired, everything. All of my uncles been to the military. Great men. When I say, and our dad, my dad, and I'm saying our dad because I'm the baby girl, I'm the only girl. His life has never actually died. Even though they murdered him that night, he never died. He still lived through us. His memories. This is what we have left of Keith Foster. This, a piece of paper. So far.
Something happened to your audio, Nam. I think you might have pushed the button.
I got it. Yes, ma'am. But all the materialistic things for his cars, him being positive to someone in the streets, we're in a new time, day and age. We're in a whole nother century now. And if you was doing senseless crimes back in 1980s, where it wasn't as big as it is now, he's not going to be able to cooperate in this world that we have now. And you cannot tell anyone how to live life when you have positive people out here on the streets, just like the pastor said. He's supposed to be big in the community. That's the type of people we need. We don't need murderers. We don't need the people who initiate crimes, the people who hurt, not only. And then when he got on here, I don't know if y'all was paying attention. I pay attention to details. Smirking, that should not be something that when you came on, you should have showed remorse. Smirking is not something that the family will have to endure. And this is my first time actually seeing the man who initiated my father's death. The first time. And as justice demand, they demand that a person who committed the heinous crime as such remain in prison to serve his entire full sentence. I grew up not being able to have a hug, a kiss from my father. I go through pictures. This here is the woman who died. She fell with a heart. She fell at the funeral because she had a heartbreak behind her baby. Never recovered. This is Keith Foster. This is a face that needs to always be remembered. Keith Foster, Sr. This is who we're fighting for. He doesn't have a voice anymore. He doesn't. So why do you think it's okay? This is Danny and Keith. This is Keith in the yellow, and this is Danny here. Very loving family. I wouldn't ask God to put me in no other family but this one. And I tell you, all these pictures that I have, that's all I can go off of. Keitra, I'm named after him. This is all I can go off of, is my family pictures, memories. I don't have nothing else.
Yes, ma'am, Ms. Perkins. Your very strong opposition's been noted. We appreciate you sharing thoughts with us today.
Thank you.
And then can we hear from the DA's office? Ms. Fitzgerald, please.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning. I'm Leon Fitzgerald. I'm the director of the Victim Assistance Program for the Caddo Parish DA's office. I've not had contact with any of the Foster family before, so please let me express my sincere sympathy for what you all are going through. Obviously, my office opposes. We oppose strongly. I believe this is the third time that we've had to oppose clemency for Mr. Grant. And after what I've heard and read today, we're no closer to agreeing to it than we've ever been. I don't like to retry cases at these hearings, but I feel like I'm forced to go somewhat into the details of this offense because of Mr. Grant's apparently lack of understanding after all these years of what he's been convicted for. Even today, he said that he was only here because he wouldn't cooperate with the police. But I'm getting disheartened with reading statements that after all these years, Mr. Grant is still making. This is from, I think, his application. I have done over 34 years for a murder that I actually did not commit myself. And then he says this is in his pre-clemency report on January 23rd of just last year, he stated, this offense was completely on Terry Mays. I had no idea what was going on that night. I just happened to be in the area when this man got shot. And then this is my favorite in reference to Mr. Foster. He says, He gave me the money out the window and I took off running. He gave me the money out the window. That's what Mr. Grant said. So, I reviewed some of this and basically, you know, we have witness statements. Mr. Grant was hanging out with two others. They approached Mr. Foster's vehicle, he and Terry Mays, on the driver's side. No one has mentioned the second victim in this case, Mr. Ford, who at least got away with his life after running from door to door in the neighborhood, and no one would let him in after his friend had had his head blown off in front of him. And he couldn't get away in the car because there were no keys, because Mr. Grant here was the one who had reached into the vehicle from the driver's side, turned off the ignition of the car, removed the keys, and taken them with him, leaving Mr. Foster basically a sitting duck for whatever was about to happen next. And so he wasn't just happening to be there whenever someone got shot. There were witnesses in the neighborhood who reported that the three black males ran off together after the shooting, and several of them even noted that they were laughing as they ran away. That was eyewitness testimony. So the next morning, Mr. Grant here was found with Terry Mays. They were both drunk and uncooperative when the police encountered them. Mr. Grant was not trying to distance himself from Terry Mays. He wasn't trying to get away from this horrible event that he had been involved in only hours earlier. He was so distraught and remorseful about it that he was off getting drunk with Mr. Mays and being uncooperative with the police. So I just want the board to understand what Mr. Grant's actual involvement was. He has continued to file pleadings post-conviction. This is the most recent one, about 1.5 inches thick, from a couple of years ago, where he's still denying his part in this. And I feel sure that over the last, 35 years, that multiple attorneys have surely explained to Mr. Grant that what he did is exactly what the legal definition of second-degree murder is. That he was involved in an armed robbery, that a killing occurred when the defendant was engaged in the perpetration of an armed robbery, even though he has no intent to kill or to inflict great bodily harm. That is what Mr. Grant did. That is what has been fully litigated by the court, by the appeals court. Something even went up to the Louisiana Supreme Court and was denied. And so I think it's high time for Mr. Grant to accept responsibility for what he did and what happened that night and his involvement in it. So it's hard for me to get past that and consider any of the good things that Mr. Grant has done in prison, because here we are 35 years later and he's still continuing to minimize his part in what happened. I didn't see any remorse from Mr. Grant today toward this family that's on here right now. So I'm very disappointed in Mr. Grant's statement, still in his attitude after all these years. I'm also concerned, this was not his first felony. In fact, the board is probably aware that when he was taken into custody for this murder, he was also wanted in connection with a simple robbery that had happened just, I think, either the same day or one day before Mr. Foster was killed. So he was actually a fugitive from probation whenever he was taken into custody for this, probation that had already been extended once, and he absconded. So let's see. All right, I'm going to wrap it up, but as I said, I'm very disappointed. This was a senseless murder. It was completely unprovoked. There was no need. They had robbed Mr. Foster. There was no need for him to be shot. Mr. Grant knew what he was doing when he walked over to Mr. Foster's car on that night. As I said, he ran away, he laughed, he got drunk with the co-defendant that he blames this all on, and he's not showing proper remorse for the death of a human being. I think he should be held accountable, and I don't think he is fit for consideration for clemency until he is willing to stand up in front of these men that he wants to mentor. They need someone who will man up and stand up. And this is what I did, and it was wrong. And this is how you need to learn from me. Right now, he's not ready to teach others. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. So Mr. Grant, your case was assigned to Mr. Tillis. Would you answer his question?
Good morning, Mr. Grant. How are you?
Come on, how you doing? I'm doing all right.
All right, I read your case. I'd like to ask a question. And I saw where you've done a lot of classes and stuff. You're trying to better yourself. What was the intent when you guys started out before all of this happened?
Well, I was going to the store when Mr. Foster pulled up. He was asking me about some drugs. I had some drugs. I sold him some drugs. But the story that they had with the other guys, that the story is not adding up. Them two that was catching up with me. I was already talking to Mr. Foster at the car. I sold him some drugs. But the drugs really wasn't, it was half and half. So when he put the money in my hand, I took off running. They thinking I took the keys, but that wasn't the case. When he put the money in my hand, when Keith put the money in my hand, I took off running. But I took off running because I knew the drugs that I gave him wasn't all the way straight. It was half and half. When I took off, I was down the street. Them statements they got talking about we ran together, that come from Mr. Leeshay. That's where that come from. The other guy, that come from him. When I left the scene, they was coming up on the corner. They had to go to the car. When I got down to the other block down the street, I'm thinking the people shooting. I'm thinking by me then gave him half and half of the drug. I'm thinking the dude was shooting. They had shot it, was shooting at me because I had and ran off with the money. But when I seen them, I recognized them coming up to the corner, and I asked them what that shot was. And that's when Leeshay told me Terry shot the man. And my response was, "You shot the man? What you shot the man for, man? You know what I'm saying? Why you shot the dude?" All that like the dude was reaching or something like that. And that's when I made the statement, "Oh man, y'all finna take me to the penitentiary with this here." It wasn't my intention for Mr. Foster to get hurt. You see what I mean? All I did, I called myself trying to be slick by being from Texas. I knew he was from Texas because I hadn't seen him before. You see what I mean? But the drugs that I had was half and half. It wasn't all the way that. So I called myself trying to make some quick money, dude from Texas.
Did you
I left.
Did you take the keys out of the car?
No, he gave me the money. He gave me the money, and I took off running. See, the keys in the car, that had to be Wendell and Terry Mays, the other guy. I had money in my hand when I took off. They come up with the statement about the car keys.
Okay.
When I went incorporate, Don Ashley and Mr. Norwood come up with it when they said, "Well, you don't want to incorporate, then we're gonna build a case so you and get you charged too." You see what I mean? And that's I had money. When he put the money in my hand, when he got the dope, he put the money in my hand. He gave him a little piece. He broke the rock. He gave it to his partner. His partner dropped Hilton on the floorboard of the car. He went down, went to looking for it. Mr. Keith hit Hilton on his, took Hilton and put it on a little straight shooter. And when he hit it, he said, "Yeah, that's it." And he come out of his pocket and put the money in my hand. I took off running. You see what I mean? And they was coming.
Mr. Grant, Mr. Tillis is trying to ask you some more questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have no more questions.
May I respond? I'm sorry. May I respond to what Mr. Grant just said?
If you can do it very briefly.
Okay. the witness who states about the keys being taken out of the car and removed was Mr. Ford, who was sitting in the passenger front seat of the car. And
Yes,
he
ma'am.
stated-
We have that information. We have that information in the record. Thank you for the information.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was fixing to say that too, but another thing, why in the world, if you didn't think something was gonna go down, you know, you do a drug deal, why didn't you just saunter off, you know? See you later, dude, or something. Why did you take off running? What caused you to run?
Cause I explained to you that the drugs that I had, it was half and half. It wasn't all the
Said
way.
he put it, and he said, yeah, that's good. So at the time he took it, he didn't know that yet.
Oh,
So,
he didn't know. He hit.
no, he didn't know. He thought he got the good stuff.
He thought he
because
had
gave
the good
it
stuff.
thanks.
Right.
And so there really was no reason for you to be concerned at that point. And then like Ms. Fitzgerald was saying, you wonder how people know what went on in that car. Well, there was a witness in the car. And so we have a witness, and the witness says you reached in there, you took the car keys. So you know, there was involvement in all that stuff. And then yes, just like the daughter said, when they asked you to say what happened, you knew what happened, but you said, but you weren't going to cooperate because you could have gotten off if you would have turned state witness, but you weren't going to do that. So really that's street cred. That makes you a snitch. You would have been a snitch, and you weren't going to be a snitch. That wasn't your personality. You chose friends, you know, and you judge by your friends, and you can go down with your friends. And I mean, old people said birds of a feather flock together, because if they weren't your people, you wouldn't have been with them. So, yeah, and I agree too. There's this lack of remorse on your part, because you're still explaining, you know, how this was, you know, a bad area, and these were your people. I mean, when you were found, you were with them and you were drunk. You didn't leave them alone. And consequences. This is not about retribution. This is about consequences. And you were sentenced to life without benefit of parole, probation, you know, and you knew that. And the family walked out of court thinking this is over for me, but it's not. They keep having to relive this over and over again. So it does pour salt in an open wound every time they hear about your life going on and your good accomplishments, which are good. Everybody wants that for incarceration, rehabilitation. We're all about that. But the sorrow left behind and the hole in the family's heart, that breaks my heart here. So there's that lack of remorse of, you know, one life ended where another life continued. That's all I have to say.
Are there any questions?
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Grant, we've already mentioned, you've heard from the DA, there's also adamant law enforcement opposition.
Right.
During, you know, we've all talked about your programs that you've done some good stuff. The warden spoke well about your work. Tell us, have you taken victim awareness? I don't think I saw that.
Yeah, I took victim awareness. I got it, Ms. Renato. Ms. Renato, can I say something about this?
No, gotta answer our questions. We want you to answer what we asked. What did you get out of victim awareness?
I got that.
What did you learn?
I learned that everybody is a victim, Ms. Renato. And on this remorse part, I'm very remorseful. I'm a remorseful type person. And even though I didn't actually shoot Mr. Falls, I still didn't want nobody's life. I still got remorse. I care about a human life, period. It don't matter if whatever you were doing, if he was trying to buy drugs or whatever, it's still though it was a human life that was taken. But it was not in my plan or my heart for him to lose his life. If I would have known that May was gonna shoot that man, I would have been stopped him. But
Okay,
like I said,
so wait, okay. So thank you for answering my question. I have another.
all right.
So after that all happened, you say I know your version is a little different than what we're reading, but you say
Right.
you ran once you got the money, but you
Right.
yourself said, you heard the shots and somebody, one of them told you that they shot the man.
Right,
But
right.
later you were found, you didn't separate yourself from them. Why did you still hang with them after you knew they shot the man? Explain that.
It was, I didn't want him, really, he was just following me. He was following me, Miss Renaus.
And you allowed him to do so. That's what I'm kind of confused about.
And when they left, he hadn't went home. He hadn't went home, and I knew he was going to call the police though. But he hadn't left us.
So you're saying Terry May was following you,
He followed me.
and he's the shooter.
Yeah, he's the shooter. He followed me.
You allowed him to do that. I mean, that's what's a little confusing.
It's confusing.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. I don't have any other questions, I know what I'm gonna do. Let me ask, I didn't ask Warden Van Noy if he had anything to add. I don't know if he's still in the room, but I wanted to give him the opportunity to do so.
I'd like to add something as well, point of clarification if I could.
Warden Van Noy, asking for Warden Van Noy if there's anything he would like to add.
The room, Ms. Renata.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't see any other questions by my colleagues. I think we are prepared to vote. Okay.
Question,
Mr. Craig.
what happened to the money?
To the money? Oh man. I get the money to a little friend of mine on Robin Hood. A little friend girl. I give her the money.
Mays didn't get any money?
No, he ain't get no money. He ain't get no money. They didn't even know I had no money. They didn't even know I had no money though, Miss Prick. They didn't know I had no money.
I'm sorry, but it doesn't seem to make sense. I've been involved in open air drug market, undercover buys and everything else my whole life and things. I know what it's like. It's like a herd of folks run to you and they all complete business and all, but they know what's going on, getting what, and they all linked into the car and that's the kind of situation it was, wasn't it?
Right. They didn't know I had no money. They now want Mr. Mays
all right, that's good enough.
All right. I think I don't see any more questions, Mr.
I have
Grant.
a question.
No, I'm sorry. We're ready to vote. Mr. Tillis? No, sir.
My vote is to deny. You've done pretty well according to the prison there, but I see no remorsefulness. And I hope that you continue to do better, but you need to learn the choices you make are the choices you have to live with. So my vote today is to deny.
My vote today is to deny. I see a lack of remorse. I don't believe you're truthful. You were revoked from probation at the time. That was your second revocation already. And then law enforcement and victim opposition is very strong.
Mr. Prater?
I concur, deny opposition.
All right, you've received 3 votes to deny your application. You didn't get the votes you needed because it requires 4. Mr. Grant, I did support your application in 2015 to allow you to have parole eligibility. I'm going to stand by that again today. I don't think today you're a public safety risk. I realize that you do have a hard time expressing yourself, which is maybe why we're not hearing the remorse. But as I said, it requires 4 favorable votes. So today your application for clemency has been denied.
Mm.